Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to your primetime preview. Last call over here on Wager Talk. I'm Jo Madden. You can find me at Jo Madden Sports on all social media. Make sure you also follow Wager Talk on all socials if you're watching over on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of the great content we have now. We got a double header on this Monday night. It's a loaded night, and I've got incredible guests stepping up and in. We also have Game 7. The Seattle Mariners are taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to get into that as well, but we're going to kick it off with this doubleheader here in the NFL to wrap up Week 7. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans versus the Seattle Seahawks. And I tell you, if you're on the East Coast, it's definitely going to be a late night for you because that one's not kicking off till 10 o'clock Eastern. But you guys, as we go over everything here on the show, make sure you do open your Odds Logic page so you can get the best of those lines. You want to make sure that is open, and come on over here to YouTube if you're watching on any of the social media platforms out there other than YouTube, so you can jump into that live chat. And in that live chat, we want to hear your questions, your comments. I want to see what you're liking out there tonight. Now, I'm seeing all the new members, so welcome over here on Wager Talk on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for stopping in today, and let's talk these primetime games. Now, we do have Carmine Bianco stepping up first, David Delano coming in second. So you guys make sure you get your questions in that live chat for them. Let's bring Carmine Bianco in first.
Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Good. Happy Monday. It's been a crazy weekend. Double header tonight. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, triple. It's just all the screens today are going to be on sports. Obviously, the football game. Looking forward to this Detroit Tampa Bay game, and then the late game, of course, the Blue Jays Game 7 here north of the border. The Prez is at the game, so he begged off today's show. I'm filling in for him, but at least you get someone who's better at football.
Well, the last time the Prez was at the game, he went to the Leafs game and the Jays game, and they both lost. So
and they lost them both.
He
should be barred from the Rogers from the Rogers Center. He should not be allowed in. And then, of course, there's a slate of hockey going on as well too. But we're here to talk football, so I'm looking forward to it. It was a great weekend for myself and my clients. 2-0 in NFL. 5% winner on the Philadelphia Eagles, and Circa. I always mention Circa. 4-1 with my Circa plays. I fell for the Tennessee Titans trap. I'm kicking myself, but I'll take a 4-1 week. I'm hitting 63% with Circa picks this season, which puts me pretty much in the top 11% or top 100 of the almost 6,000 entries. So I'm trying to get another one of those little checks like I have up behind me here from Circa. But with that said, Joe, where do you want to start?
Well, let's start on this first game kicking off, Carmine. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Detroit Lions. This is the earlier of the two games. This total is creeping up out there, and I know you've got some player props in it. We're seeing 53s out there for the total, you guys. That spread, there's 6s out there. There are still 6.5s too, if you like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Carmine, I know you've got a couple of props that you're looking at tonight.
Yeah, I get messages and tweets on the X or even in the Puck Time chat asking for some for player props because they've been hitting on this show. I was on last call with Ariel on Sunday and gave Kyle Pitts the fantasy football bust every year. I draft him every year. He's a bust. Yeah. And it gave over his yards of 36.5, and that one hit easily. I think he ended up with 60 plus yards. So we're going to try and do it again. I've got a couple of them for you in game 1, and then I've got a couple for you guys in game 2 tonight. The first one I want to start off with is obviously in the Detroit game is Sam Laporta. His receiving yards are at 48.5. He had a slow start to the season, but he has been picking it up. He's getting more targets. I think he's healthier now as well, too. And at home, this Detroit team, they're just beasts at home. He's going to be part of of their passing attack. 48.5 receiving yards. Like I said, he's been active the last 2 weeks. more targets, more yards, 92 and 55 the last 2 weeks. And I just see him going. I think this number is probably just a little too low for me, or a little too low. And you have to take it 48.5. I like the over in this one in a game with a high total that seems like it could very well be a track meet tonight between Baker Mayfield and Goff at in Detroit.
It definitely does. Now, when you look at Jared Goff, Carmine, do you think that he can stand on the same level as Baker? Because we know there's so much love out there for Baker. Jared Goff just seems a little underrated, in my opinion. I think he has every ability to pull off a win tonight. But what are your thoughts overall on Jared Goff?
Yeah, in listening to, I think it was on Sunday as well too, and listening to Gianni, Gianni the Greek, who has always some fantastic info and info from sharp books and or sharp betting syndicates. And I believe that there was action coming in on Detroit. Like that, we've seen that line go from I think it was 5 to 5.5 to 6 to 6.5 at one point. There's been some buyback on it, and because I saw some 5.5s and a couple sixes as well too. Goff at home, or in a dome stadium, you got to love him in that sense. Listen, Baker's having a great season. Whether it's sustainable for the whole year, I don't know. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks have some great first halves of the season, and then they kind of just tails off. Injuries take their toll. With the Bucs, they have Mike Evans coming back, of course. I think they get another wide receiver as well too. But now Bucky Irvin is out, so it's going to be Rashard White in the backfield for them. Everything clicks for Tampa Bay when everyone is healthy on that team. When they're not, I don't think it clicks as much. I just think going into Detroit and beating this Detroit team that's coming off a loss, and they respond coming off a loss. I think it's Detroit's game to lose tonight. Whether you want to lay the points with them or not is up for you guys to decide on that one. But can Baker Mayfield be stopped? Of course he can.
Yeah.
I think the Lions, you can stop them by having an advantage with time of possession. You possess the ball. If the Lions possess the ball and aren't quick striking offense, if they possess the ball 35 minutes, you're giving Baker Mayfield 25 minutes and much less time to put points on the board and beat you. So that's where the running game comes in as well too. But I'd hate to take rushing numbers tonight in a game in which I'm expecting to see a lot of points.
Yeah, we should see those points coming in. And that did bring you to the point that Big Sis Lisa was asking, like, how can the Lions stop Tampa from having that last minute comeback, Baker being able to get them back in this game at the end? So time of possession, is there any other key points that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Lions will need to do to stop the Buccaneers at the end of this one?
Yeah, it's a great question by Lisa, and it always comes down to execution. Baker Mayfield's been very good at it. Anytime you're laying close to a touchdown, you're always worried about, especially if it's a 6 or 6.5. I always talk about the back door is always open on that. You know what I mean? If the game is close, that back door is always open for the cover. Tampa Bay, if they're down. If they're down 10, if they're down 12, if they're down 13, and I'm not saying they're going to be down that many, come down. It's prevent defense for Detroit, and you're always worried about it. Laying a ton of points in the NFL, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs against the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday, you've always got to worry about it laying a lot of points. And I normally don't lay a lot of points. I think under a touchdown for Detroit at home, though, is the right thing. I think the Lions probably take this out of Baker's hands in the sense of, let's put this game away and get a win. I talked about it a few weeks ago. I still think the division runs through Detroit, and my thought process hasn't changed since that loss to Green Bay. Detroit was the third choices at that point after that loss. Green Bay was favored to win. The Bears were right up there. And Detroit were third at like plus 260 to win the division. The division goes through Detroit, as far as I'm concerned. So this is a game that they're going to want to win and bounce back off of a loss.
Absolutely. Now there's a couple of questions coming in, but first I want to get to your Rashard White props. Where are you going to look with him, Carmine?
Yeah, it's another one in which, you know what I mean, obviously with Bucky Irving out, you're going to he's going to be Rashard White's going to be in there for a lot of plays. And if the Detroit and you're going to want him in there as well too. If Detroit are rushing Baker Mayfield and putting a ton of pressure on him, then you're going to need a running back in there to pick up a guy, help a tight end, help a linebacker. You're going to need him in there. But he's also good coming out of the backfield. And you know, his last 3 games, his receptions have been 4, 4, and 3. His receptions for tonight is 3.5, and I'm taking the over in that one. They started to juice it a little bit today. It was at minus 115 this morning. I think it's up to as high as minus 126 right now at DraftKings. But it's one in which, again, he's another weapon for Baker Mayfield coming out of the backfield, catching something, on the flank and picking up some yards. Whether they're short yards or not doesn't really matter to me. It's the receptions, and he's getting some targets and he's getting the receptions. He's got 11 in the last 3 weeks. Over 3.5, I think, is the right play as far as receptions for Rashard White.
That looks like a nice play that you've got there. Now, I'm not sure if you know Carmine, but I'm not sure who Art at the Westgate needs to cover this game tonight. If anyone does here, we'll definitely try to get that information. But Cody does have a question on that first quarter. He's wondering that first quarter total thoughts. It's sitting at 9.5, Carm, if you haven't seen that number. It's minus 150 to the over 9.5, to the under, it's plus 124.
Yeah, the 9.5. It's in a game in which the total is 54, you always assume they're going to get off to a quick start. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes you get a 7-minute or 8-minute drive. You get a field goal out of it, and you're frustrated. I tend to use the first quarter to pick up an adjusted line on the total. If I see that there isn't a lot of scoring in the first quarter, but I figure the game is going to go over, then you're going to get an adjusted total of like from 54. If you only get like 6 or 9 points, you're going to get an adjusted total there of probably something like 51. And that's where you want to jump in, anywhere from 49 to 51 on this game, because the points are going to come. At some point, you have to believe the points are going to come. There's no weather here. It's a dome stadium. So I tend to stay away from those first ones. I wish I could give him an answer as to what I would take, but if I'm not going to take it, I'm not going to tell you to take it, because if I'm not putting my money on it, I'm not going to tell you to put your money on it. To answer someone else's, Thomas Lynch, real quick. FanDuel, yes, FanDuel was down with the AWS servers going down, but up here, I was able to access FanDuel about an hour ago, and I put everything in for the whole night just because I did not want if there was any additional problems that came. So for FanDuel and DK, I don't know what platform they're on, but FanDuel is definitely on AWS because I couldn't access it pretty much the whole morning.
Yeah, it's always hard when you can't access your book, and that's a good reason to have multiple books out there as well. But TransCanada coming in with don't sleep on Flacco for his rushing yards. So Flacco did have a couple nice runs in his last game, but let's move on to the second game, Carm. So the second game of the doubleheader, I can't believe how late we are seeing this one. Kickoff, 10 o'clock Eastern. I'm glad I don't live on the East Coast. The Houston Texans taking on the Seattle Seahawks. This spread's sitting at 3 right now, 41 or 41.5. So shop those lines, head on over to Odds Logic. You guys make sure you get the best of that number. Depending on if you're rolling with the under or the over, you want to make sure you don't have to have that hook if you like this one to the over. But Carm, 41.5. That's a low total between these two teams. I know you got props in this because you do have best bets out there, but looking at this one, how do you think overall this game's going to play out?
Houston's playing better right now. They're definitely playing better. I'm still not sold on Seattle. They seem to get it done each and every week, but I'm not completely sold on Seattle. I coming into the season, I thought they were an 8 or 9 win team off of winning 10 10 games last season and not even making the playoffs. I thought they would take a step backwards. Obviously, with the quarterback they now have, it's a little different for them. But I just like the way this Houston team is playing right now, which sort of equates with going with the under here, because I think Houston's defense has been better of late. I get it. Their last game they did play against the Baltimore Ravens, who were missing was missing Lamar Jackson, but their run stopping defense, their run stopping defense did a great job. Henry had I think 33 yards in that game for them. That one got away from them quickly. I think the final score, they beat them by like 30 something points. Mm-hmm. But so when I'm looking at like some props, one of the two props, and I have running backs for both props here. Kenneth Walker III, I have his rushing yards at under 53.5. He's 3-3 this season to this number of 53.5. And while that does seem low, you look at Houston, and I mentioned it. They kept Henry to 33. Etienne, another good running back. They kept him he was at 56. Pollard, another good quarterback. He was at my rating's bad. That's either 54 or 64. I'm sorry. And even Williams of the Rams, 66. And that guy usually puts up some numbers. But they've gotten better of late. And they're, I believe they are the number one rush defense, or number one rushing defense at the moment. So allowing just a little over 100 something yards per game. They're playing extremely well. So under 53.5 is one that I really like for that game. And then the other one I like is rushing attempts. And this is for Nick Chubb. He's at 10.5. The books have set the perfect number for this one. So you have to have an opinion on whether you're going to take it or not. You look at his 5 weeks, 13, 12, 9, 13, and 11. He's gone over this number in 4 or 5 games with his rush attempts. Now, if you go with the narrative that Houston wants to establish a running game, then he's going to get the rushing attempts. If you go with the narrative that Houston is going to be up late in this game, he's going to get the rushing attempts as they try and whittle down that clock at the end of the game. If they are getting blown out by Seattle, then this is a prop that's likely not going to get there unless he accumulated those props, those rushing attempts early on. But I think he gets there. It's the perfect number for him at 10.5. And like I mentioned, 4 to 5 games this year, he's hit that number.
Yeah, he's been so nice and strong out there. I was just reading one of the messages saying he's never at 100%. He has a hard time carrying that big workload. When is he going to be able to get back to form? Or is this just coming with age, Carmine, that we're not seeing him healthy?
Not everyone's a Marshawn Lynch or a Derrick Henry. Running backs, you know what I mean? We talk about all the time. Running backs, they're getting hit. They're getting hit over and over again. The shelf life on running backs isn't great most of the time, unless it's like a complete finesse guy. But when you're giving it to a guy like Nick Chubb, and he tries to break one a little to the outside, and he's getting tackled by 2 or 3 guys, it eventually takes its toll on you. So, yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be 100%. I wish he was. Who wouldn't want a player to be at 100%? He's never going to be, but all he needs to be is someone who's healthy enough to get me 11 rushing attempts tonight.
That's all we need. And that being said, did you see CMC yesterday? CMC just completely went off. I was watching the Jays game. I was watching the stats on my phone. Couldn't believe what he was able to do, not just on the ground, but in receptions as well. So that was a fantastic showing for him. But you're right. Running backs is going to be one of the hardest positions on their bodies out there. We're seeing a lot of you guys in the questions, in the comments coming out there, dropping what you're liking tonight. And that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see those comments on who you've got. But I appreciate you guys so much in the live chat. Carm, you've been rolling so nice and hot out there. You're dropping these free props for us, but I know you got a ton for sale over on WagerTalk.com. You've also got your full season combo package for just $5.69, NFL and NHL. How much longer is that one running for?
Yeah, that one's going to go until the end of October, so Halloween night. It will expire. Not like the candy that I hope I have left over when the kids are all gone. But Listen, it's been fantastic NFL over the last 2 or 3 years. Like if you go back to the start of the 2022 season, which is, we're talking about 2.5, almost 3 full seasons. Number one at Wager Talk with my 4 and 5% plays, and that's uh, pretty much all I'm releasing on weekends are 4 and 5% plays. So you don't get 6 plays on a Sunday from me. You're going to get 2, and you'll normally be 2 or 3 of my best plays, up 148 units with 4% and 5% NFL plays. So that's been going well. Good start to the NHL season as well too. 4-1 on the weekend. A couple plays up for tonight in NHL. A couple plays up in football tonight. That are sides and totals, and we're going to keep it at that. That deal is a great one. You get the rest of the NHL regular season and the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you'll get the rest of the NFL season, including the playoffs as well too, right up until and including the Super Bowl. So it's a great deal. No coupon needed. You just need to either go over to my page at wt.buzz/CB or find it in the deal section on the Wager Talk website.
Okay, Carm. Absolutely crush it tonight. Thank you for being here for the primetime preview. Last call on Wager Talk. Crush it. I'll see you next week, hopefully.
All right. Take care and best of luck, Joe.
Thank you. You guys, that was Carmine Bianco coming in here with the props that you need in tonight's game. Now, we do have David Delano stepping up in the next couple of minutes here. We're going to talk some action out there on the diamonds. You guys know it's game 7. Let me know who you're hoping to get the win. I should have asked Carm who he was rooting for. I'm pretty sure he is a Jays fan. So hopefully in Toronto, he's rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays because I am up here in Calgary. You guys, I wanted to remind you that Weekend Warrior package for football will be going live tonight at midnight. So make sure you jump on those packages for all of the handicappers here at Wager Talk. It's a great special for the weekend football deals. You've also got $5 Tuesday. That kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. So don't miss out on that. But we've got these 2 football games to talk about with David Delano. We're going to kick it off though with some football. Let's bring in David.
Hey Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. This is a great time of the year. We actually got 2 Monday night football games and a game 7 in Major League Baseball. I feel like there's nothing like a game 7 in playoff baseball. And we've even got NBA starting tomorrow to go along with NHL. So this is a great time to talk about sports and to be a sports fan. So I'm excited.
David, you just gave me goosebumps as soon as you said that. With the NBA starting and the NHL, everything going on. We're just, college basketball coming into fold as well. Definitely a great time to be betting on sports. But let's start off with game 7 here tonight. I can hardly wait to see where you're going to go with this one. The Seattle Mariners, the Toronto Blue Jays, electric game yesterday. Yasavage out there for Toronto was so strong on the mound, and the defense there was so many situations where those bases were loaded and they were able to get Seattle out. In this one tonight, can the Jays win game 7 and then take on the Dodgers in the World Series?
Yeah, they absolutely can. So, Seattle had a great opportunity to put the Jays away yesterday. They had the more experienced pitcher with Gilbert. Obviously, the pressure was on Toronto, with the rookie on the mound after he struggled in that game 2, but he put it together well. The bats came out swinging, and now Seattle's going to go to George Kirby in this one, who he did struggle earlier in this series in game 3 at home. This is going to be the 6th career playoff appearance for Kirby. The thing is, all except for one of those so far have been at home. He made one road appearance against the Blue Jays in the postseason back in 2022. Didn't give up a run, but he only went 1 inning. So I think that for Seattle to win this game, they really don't want to get into a slugfest, but I don't think that Kirby is going to be the guy here to go deep in the game. We saw him struggle in this series at home. He's really struggled on the road overall this season with a 5.16 earned run average. Opponents hitting .279 against him on the road. And when you even look at how he's done against this Toronto team, active Blue Jays are hitting over 300 against them lifetime. So when it's a high-scoring game, it usually favors Toronto. On the other side, you got Shane Bieber, who's pitched well against the Seattle team. He's got a postseason experience from his days in Cleveland, and Shane Bieber pitched very well in this series against this Mariners team. So right now, I think that the Mariners left the door open, and I think that the Blue Jays have the edge tonight. So I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line, and also like the Toronto team total. I've seen it as low as 3.5. I think that the Blue Jays, even if there's a way that a path for victory for Seattle, I think that the Blue Jays are definitely going to get 2-4 runs here. If it's a high scoring game, that favors Toronto, but there's a chance if one pitcher comes out and shuts the other team down, I could really see Shane Bieber coming out and pitching a strong game against the Mariners. I don't see George Kirby doing it. I think that there's going to be a short lease there, but we've seen so many high scoring games. Every game except for one in this season has gone over the total. And if you go through the whole entire season now, more than 170 games, these are the top two over teams in baseball. So I think that favors the Blue Jays. I think that favors runs. So I'm going with the Blue Jays. I'm going with your Blue Jays to get the win. And I'm also going with that Blue Jays team total over 3.5 runs tonight.
Well, I sure hope you're right, David, because I know the city of Calgary was just electric last night out there watching game number 6. And I can't imagine how big the party will be if they move on to the World Series, not only here in Calgary, but across Canada, as Canadian baseball fans really getting into the love of a postseason play here. Now, I'm with you. If the Jays are winning, they're getting those runs on the board. What do you think here looking at the run line? Because I played the run line and the alt run lines because I thought if the Jays are winning, might as well go big. They won yesterday by 4 runs. Could you see them doing similar in this?
I definitely can. You're a little bit more of a risk taker than me. I don't mind the run line at all. I just think it pretty decent price at the that -125 to -130 range. Sometime in the playoffs, especially with the home team getting one less at bat. I'm just taking them to win the game, but I don't hate the run line here. I mean, we definitely have seen wins by margin and some huge wins in this game, and this one definitely could get a little bit ugly, but so I'm just taking it on the money line, but I definitely don't hate that play. And if the Blue Jays do win, if for people who love offense, you don't want to think ahead, but how much fun could this potential Toronto Blue Jays Los Angeles Dodgers series be? That definitely could be if you like batting props and you like overs and runs. I mean, I think that's gonna one step at a time, but I think that could just be electric, kind of similar to last season when we saw some exciting high scoring games in that Yankees Dodgers series.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just waiting to see how much we're going to have to pay for Ohtani for those home runs in the World Series, because I tell you, they probably will be pricey out there. But let's turn to Thursday night football, or sorry, Monday night football. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's not Thursday night. My Chargers and Minnesota are not playing as of yet. We have the last couple of games here of week 7. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Detroit Lions in the early game here, David. What are you liking in this one? So this is the highest total of the night, sitting right around that 53. We are seeing the majority of the books posting those 6s now for the Lions being the favorite at home. Have you got a play on the total for us?
Yeah, I do. So we've seen some games this week. We really started to see some scoring. There were some totals that seemed a little too high that I stayed off of, but I am jumping on this one, and I am taking the over in this game. We saw the Lions with 4 straight games of at least 34 points before they ran into that until they ran into the Chiefs in their last game. I do think that they're going to bounce back strong. We did see a low scoring game between these teams last season, but I think that we're going to see more scoring in this one. Looks like Mike Evans is going to be going along with Ibuka. So, Tampa Bay 6-0 to the over following double-digit wins, and 4-1 to the over in non-divisional games when they've been an underdog by more than 3 points. I think that this Lions team is going to get up and down the field. And the thing when you have the level that Baker Mayfield's playing at, and just the level that these Lions have been at for so long under led by Jared Goff, no amount of points is really too many. So neither team is going to keep their foot off the gas. I was leaning Lions in this one, but I did decide to stay off of the side because Tampa Bay's just been such a scrappy team. I'm leaning on the Lions to cover, even though I think it's going to be somewhat competitive game here. But I do really like the over in this one. I think that we're going to see both teams putting quite a few points on the board.
Well, especially when you got Dan Campbell out there, right? You look at Dan Campbell, you look at the risks he's willing to take. If he's in the red zone, on that fourth down, he's more than likely to try one more time instead of going for that field goal. And they have every possibility of converting. So I would be terrified taking an under in this game. Jared Goff at home in a dome versus a Baker Mayfield guy that's willing to, put it into the end zone on those last drives. So it should be an exciting one out there. Before we get to the second game, I know you've got a 7-day pass running right now just for $49 for the 7-day pass. Are you kidding here?
Yeah, absolutely. So up over on the website, people can use promo code DD7day. So that's like DD, like David Delano, 7-day. Yeah, and that'll get you the whole week for $49 over there. And then there's always on Tuesdays as well, always some different special $5 specials going up over there. So locked in for all sports. I even know I handicapped the NHL. So, you grab that pass. It'll get you NFL and college football. It'll get you NHL, NBA. Have a best bet for tomorrow. And still locked in for Major League Baseball. I'm going to be locked in with Major League Baseball until the end. And I like talking about baseball so much because it's been such a profitable area for me. So, yeah, 7 days. Once again, $49. And that's promo DD7day, DAY.
Yeah, you guys, make sure you head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab that. Let's jump into this second game here. This is a late one, David. Hopefully you're not on the East Coast. The Houston Texans taking on the Seattle Seahawks. We're seeing that spread right around 3 and a low total in this one of 41. What are you liking in this for us?
Yeah, so, you could look at this game and it's just 3 points and you're wondering, the Seahawks could seem like a little bit of a, deal here. Sam Darnold last season with the Vikings picked the Texans apart, but I really like the way the Texans have been playing. They got off to a really slow start, but they're coming off of the bye in this situation. And, they got right. You can say against a couple bad defenses against the Titans and the Ravens, although nobody expected the Texans to do what they did to the Ravens, regardless of who was playing quarterback until that happened. But you have a Texans team here right now. They're 4th in the NFL overall in defense, 1st in defensive scoring. They have not allowed more than 20 points in a game this entire season. That was against Tampa Bay. And you look at the home field, so much think of the Legion of Boom days and that great home field advantage for the Seahawks. But under now Mike McDonald going back to last season, this is a Seattle team that's just a 3-9 against the spread at home. Only team that's been worst since last season at home has been the Tennessee Titans. So I think this is going to be a very, very low-scoring game with the Texans. So even if they don't win this game, I can really see this being at a max a 3-point game. But I do think that the Texans win this game outright, but I am taking that buffer there at the +3. So I like the Houston Texans in this one. Also came across that DeMeco Ryans, his team 6-1 against the spread in games that have been decided by 3 points or fewer. So defense travels Seattle. There's a reason that this number is light at home. Texans don't give up too many points, and they do have that bye week that they're coming off of. So I'm rolling with the Houston Texans tonight.
I like it. You're right. Defense does travel here. I think you're onto a great bet. And I love how you said the Legion of Boom here for the Seattle Seahawks. No longer that team, because I felt really old this weekend talking to a younger teenager saying, well, back when Russ was great and the Legion of Boom was around, and they looked at me like deers in the headlights. It's like, come on, you don't know about that. It's crazy to think that this team once had Russell Wilson leading them to Super Bowls. And now we're seeing Russ get booed off the field, David.
Was that person you talked to a Seahawks fan?
No, they weren't. They weren't a Seahawks fan, but a major football fan out there. So, but younger.
I was going to say, if they didn't remember those days, I'd find it hard to believe that they were a Seahawks fan. But yeah, It is crazy how things have changed with Russell Wilson. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but yeah, it makes me feel old too.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't that long ago. I was talking to a younger teenager, so they just didn't know when those games were on. They were probably running around, playing with cars, playing with dolls. So just before their time. But it's crazy to think it doesn't feel like that long ago at all. But David, I want to thank you so much for joining me here to talk these games out. I'm seeing people come in with Baker Mayfield 1.5 plus interceptions. Phoenix, I bet you're getting great plus money with that. I know his anytime interception kind of juicy. Do you ever play props like that, David?
There are every now and then if I really, really see some value there. But the way Baker's been protecting the ball, I don't know if you said over 1.5. I know that
Yeah.
that's a strong price, but Baker's really been protecting the ball, and he's got a couple of his top receivers back. I don't think that I wouldn't expect the Bake Show to throw two tonight. Sometimes you're getting a lot of value for a reason on those plays there. But I do every now and then in some spots, but not with a guy like Baker who's been protecting the ball so well. That's been one of his strengths this year, not turning the ball over.
Yeah, it definitely has. And if people are looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on that money line, you are seeing them up plus 235 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you're looking at the Houston Texans on the money line, David, I know you're rolling with the Texans plus the 3. The money line's right around that plus 150 mark. So some great plus money there. Any live betting strategies that you would have for either of these games, depending on how they start, David, before I let you go?
Yeah, well, for this game, if you can, I mean, if it's at that 3, if Seattle possibly gets off to a start, if you like the Texans and they take that 3-0 lead and you could get 4 or 3.5, I think that this is going to be a very, very close game. I think that there's going to be some situations to take the dog. Also, the Lions being so aggressive, if you do like Tampa Bay, great chance, that the Lions get that first score going for it on 4th down or whatnot. And I think at some point that's going to be a little bit of a game of run. So if you do like Tampa Bay, even if they get behind early, go into that with the strategy that you're going to stay true to that you're not going to panic if they maybe fall behind 7-0 or 7-3. At some point, Detroit's going to have the lead in this game, and you might be able to get the Buccaneers at a better number at even +8. So I think that if you like the dogs, if they fall behind, if you like the dogs, don't overreact so much in those first few minutes. If they fall behind, use it to your advantage to get a better number.
Absolutely. That is some great advice out there. And I know anyone that had Survivor was definitely sweating the Denver Broncos yesterday in that crazy comeback win versus the Giants. I still can't believe 33 points in the 4th quarter, David. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah, that was really crazy. And then sometimes when you talk to just people in general for fun and people are like, oh, it's scripted and all that, it's like, well, but now you look at it, it's like the Giants did still cover, right? If you took them on the spread, and I think that the Broncos were probably a part of a lot more money line parlays really than the Giants were. So it's as far as what did the books really want to happen money line wise. But that was absolutely crazy. I mean, you see comebacks sometimes, but to 33 points in the 4th quarter is just absolutely crazy. And it's even crazier when you think that those were the only points that they scored in the entire game. So that's one of those things, you could do all the research and have a feel and all those, but it's amazing how we still week after week manage to see something that we've never seen before. It's crazy.
Absolutely. It is definitely the best form of entertainment watching sports out there, David. And it's always so fun to get your bets in on it. Can you let us know one more time about your incredible promotion, 7 days for just $49?
Yeah, promo code DD7day, DAY. So it's DD7day. That's going to get you all of my plays, 7 days for $49. Like I said, still, locked in with Major League Baseball. We got NFL, college football, NBA, even the NHL had been doing well over there. So all of those different sports. And hopefully after those 7 days, maybe you even stay around a little bit longer because college basketball is coming up soon. So been busy working hard for you guys, and promo code is DD7day.
David, thank you so much for joining me here today for your primetime preview. Crush the books tonight. Keep crushing them this week, and we'll hopefully see you back here next week.
Thank you so much, and go Blue Jays.
Let's go, Blue Jays. You guys, that was David Delano. Make sure you do head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab his 7-day package. Again, DD7day is the promo code 7 days for just $49. You don't want to miss out on it because he is absolutely crushing things out there. With NBA starting tomorrow, there's some great deals running over on WagerTalk.com. 7 and 30-day passes. We also have the $5 Tuesday kicking off tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you make sure you get those plays from the handicapper of choice for that $5 Tuesday bet. We have the Weekend Warrior that is up and running as well, kicking off live tonight at midnight for your weekend plays in football. So much going on. Again, Carmine had the NFL, NHL package that you don't want to miss out on. It expires on Halloween at midnight. So don't be late to get that. You'll get the rest of the football season, including Super Bowl and the rest of the hockey season. And you guys, that hockey season runs all the way. We know into June with the Olympics this year, it's going to be a long one. And that package, his NFL and NHL package, just for $569. So much going on over on WagerTalk.com. Of course, we let the guys give you all of their picks. We got your questions, your comments. I want to just take a second to let you guys know what I'm liking out there in these games tonight. Now, I talked about it, the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Seattle Mariners. I brought it up here with David Delano, how I thought if the Jays are winning, they are winning big. You guys, I did a ladder on the Toronto Blue Jays. I did the run line laying 1.5 for a third of a unit. That was coming in at plus 150. I then laid the 2.5 and the 3.5. They won by 4 yesterday. You guys, I think if Toronto wins, they're going to win it by 3-4 runs. So I did do the ladder, third of a unit on each, taking it all the way up to 3.5 was like plus 440. So if Seattle wins, it's still only 1 unit that I'm playing on the Toronto Blue Jays. I just can't see if Toronto wins, the reasoning why you take the money line, because yes, they could win a 1-run game, but I think Toronto's more than likely to win by multiple runs. So I'm going bigger. I'm going home with my Toronto Blue Jays. I'm seeing Bill coming in with it's a bold move for the Seattle Mariners at minus 1.5. Betting on Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix is saying back the Seattle Mariners laying 1.5. Let's jump to some of the things that I'm liking out there for touchdown props in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Detroit Lions game. I think we're going to get touchdowns in this. We know it's got a high total out here, you guys. And I do think there's a couple, safe players. And we say safe in brackets because we know no one is safe to get those tutties. We got Jamari Gibbs coming in as a favorite for the Detroit Lions, followed by David Montgomery and St. Brown. And sure, you could take them. You're going to have to lay juice for all of those guys to be able to get that touchdown. We had Carm coming in with Sam Laporta for over his receiving yards as one of his best free bets. And I agree with everything Carmine said on Sam Laporta. I think he's going to get those targets, and I do think Jared Goff will target him in the end zone. I'm taking him for the anytime tutty. Sam Laporta of the Detroit Lions for the anytime touchdown coming in at plus 180. I think it is a really solid way to go. And then when we look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rashard White coming in at plus 105, Mike Evans at plus 110, and Buka coming in at plus 145. But I'm going to go down to Sterling Shepard. Wide receiver here for Baker Mayfield. Sterling Shepard is plus 350 to get an anytime touchdown. As you guys can tell, I take the bigger chances for that plus money. I love a higher return on investment, and Sterling Shepard has every ability to get that touchdown tonight. I think it's great positive return here on him for strong hands out there that Baker can trust. Now, if you think those interceptions are coming, we saw the comment out there for Baker to throw over 1.5 passing or 1.5 interceptions. You can look at those defensive touchdowns. I was shocked in this one that it is below 600 for the Detroit Lions to get that touchdown tonight. The pick six only plus 480 at that price. I won't lay it, you guys. Plus 480. I want more of a return. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're looking at plus 650, but I think Goff is going to be pretty conservative with that ball out there in situations where he is feeling threatened. So I don't think we have the opportunity with him. We're going to look at the next game. Just looking at your comments, people are asking if they're seeing FanDuel still up or not. You guys can go over and shop those lines at Odds Logic and make sure you're getting the best of those lines over there. Let's go with the next one. you guys. Okay, so Phoenix wasn't saying bet the house on Seattle. Let's look at the second game, and then I'm going to send you guys on your way. We've got a ton of things going on tonight. The Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks. Where am I going to go with this one? Well, you guys, I know David Delano came in with the Houston Texans, and I respect him so much, plus the 3. For myself, I think Seattle Seahawks find a way. I don't love the spread of 3. I ulted that one up. I laid 6.5 with the Seattle Seahawks. I think they come in nice and strong. Now, I know Houston is off a bye. I know all of those trends there with their defense and how their defense will really come to play in this one. But I think Seattle with Sam Darnold kind of underrated here. I think Sam Darnold has been strong and his ability to get that ball moving. He doesn't pass it as much. Like, this is one of the least passing teams in the whole league. They're only passing just over 50% of the time. They have a solid run game, but I do think we will see them utilize Sam Darnold a little bit more in this game. So I would lay the 6.5, not my best bet. I think my best bet would be to look here at Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think they're going to be able to convert in the red zone. Looking at Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing touchdowns is plus 164. I also think you can look at Sam Darnold to use his legs over the 5.5 rushing yards. It looks a little light. Now, when we look at the Houston Texans, this defense is powerful and this defense will come to play. They're going to be putting that pressure on him. So I understand why that total is low, but I would rather have Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks at home in an environment where it should be loud tonight over CJ Stroud. And I'm a huge believer in CJ Stroud. You know, he came out of Ohio State. I've got a soft spot because I'm a Buckeyes fan, you guys, but I just don't see them being able to get it done today. So that's where I'm rolling with my best bets. If you guys are liking anything else, make sure you drop it here below this show. Also, let me know what you're parlaying out there, everything that you're liking. And before you leave, make sure you hit that like button. You guys, I really appreciate you joining me here on your primetime preview. We are live Mondays and Thursdays on the primetime preview. Last call on WagerTalk. And then Ariel and Kelly will be live on the weekends, 11 a.m. Eastern for last call. Kelly does the college football on Saturday, Ariel on Sunday for the NFL. All of those last bets that you want before those games kick off. But thanks so much for joining me here tonight, you guys. You guys are absolutely the best. Until next time, stay hot and let's make some freaking money.